All right, here we are going into the losers finals. We've been talking about it all night. Would Ninja make it through with Hysteria? And he has, in fact, done just that. Now, of course, he has to get through Sypher and his teammate FaZe Jaomock. They've been playing considerably well. But now, Ninja, Hysteria, coming off that hot win that we just saw, they're warmed up. They're ready to go. They've been hitting up Shifty, and it looks like they might, in fact, be going Shifty once again. Seems to be their homeland, as Ryan likes to say. But, of course, you know, as we know one thing, Sypher and Hysteria, they like Shifty themselves, and they're going to be going Shifty.
They also like following the opponents, too. That's what we've been talking about throughout a lot of their tournament runs, has been kind of on the back heels of their opposition. And you could argue on this landing spot as well, they could be doing much of the same. Whether or not they obviously prefer Shifty Shafts is obviously a known factor, but I think them like seeing Ninja and Hysteria going there, it's like, hey, it's kind of two positives. Might as well make it a play call here.
Yeah, so Shifty versus Shifty. It's really going to come down to who can outperform the other, a battle of true skill and a little bit of kill stealing and a couple other things that come into effect as well.
And it also comes down to the rotations. We can't forget that, right? We've seen so many times Ninja and Hysteria take over a victory because they were just rotating ahead of their enemy opponents. Of course, that happened with FaZe. We noticed that earlier whenever we saw that FaZe Sypher and Jaomock match. FaZe just was able to rotate through a little bit earlier and take over those kills from Sypher and Jaomock. So that's another thing they're going to have to focus on, too. Who is going to push for Tilted first and get those early kills? But trading back and forth is going to be overall frags. As we see Jaomock and Hysteria both picking up frags themselves. As Shifty, of course, you'll run into a couple of squads here, but it's going to be about those rotation. How is the Tilted going to work out?
Yep, 2-1 is the score right now. It looks like ultimately the squad wipe did go in favor of Ninja and Hysteria, but as you mentioned, Tara, I think the most important thing is who's going to rotate and how quickly you're going to rotate over to Tilted. Do they both decide to go Tilted as well? Something tells me they both will.
Oh, definitely so. That's the natural instinct for both of these guys. I mean, you know, a couple tournaments back, we saw maybe a Greasy rotation, but that was back when it was at least a battle pass objective, go to Greasy. You find out some opponents are going to be rotating through, and you might have a squad there, but ultimately that squad from Greasy usually is going to go Shifty or Tilted themselves, so eventually in the end you'll end up finding them.
Definitely possible, yeah. When it comes into the Shifty Shafts, though, I know you touched on it already, Taylor, but really it's a matter of like, hey, are we going to wait for the rotation of Greasy players, or are we going to make our way towards the towers first? It's going to be a lot of the things kind of being in question right now in the minds of all four of our players, but I believe as the C4 comes through, Sypher happened to spot someone. Of course, the top right of our screens at the moment, we'll see if he tries to engage or who can actually be there. Jaomock is going to be the aggressor, and I believe in the end of things, it's actually going to be Hysteria who steals that kill. Rather unfortunate when it comes down to Shifty Shafts, but the kills necessarily aren't always in you know, a very high amount. You really got to take them where you can get them. In that situation, Hysteria comes big with a nice little steal there.
Yep, so in the end, looks like two squads actually rotated to Shifty at some point. Maybe a solo squad came in as 5 kills on the board right now, 3 in favor of Ninja and Hysteria, thanks to the heavyweight of Hysteria, who's actually performing incredibly well today. Meanwhile, only 2 kills in the hands of Sypher and Jaomock. So here comes the rotation. Looks like it's going to be a quick jump from Hysteria as he's looking to get to Tilted as fast as he possibly can. And right behind him, of course, are Sypher and Jaomock.
And that's what I talked about. You got to get ahead of your opponents, and they look like they're doing just that. As yeah, they're going to be farming a little bit of wood, but Sypher will, in fact, have the lead overall pushing into Tilted. So he drops some rounds, of course, to kind of give Jaomock a little bit of a buffer there in terms of bullet-wise. But very close score off of the rip, and that's to be expected with both teams landed at Shifty, a very low-intensity area typically with a couple of squads there. But as they push forward, will they tend to break up? Like I've been saying it, they'll stick together at Tilted. But then after that point, do they rotate back or push forward? They can't go back to Shifty at this point. They're going to be outside of the circle, so they've got to keep pushing forward. But interestingly enough, Ninja and Hysteria will, in fact, push into Tilted. But look at Sypher and Jaomock. They're going to go down to the right side and kind of cross this river and push forward. Go salty.
Yeah, definitely. I kind of like this play, actually. I was kind of curious. Okay, you go to the tower. It's not a bad call by any means, but you're going to have a lot of opportunities to try to go for kill steals, which is exactly what Ninja happens to succeed at quite a bit. So as we actually see Ninja and Hysteria quickly start to find themselves some easy frags for the most part, you also could be putting into question Sypher and Jaomock, their ability to kind of have the entire eastern portion of the map wide open to them. Salty Springs, Retail Row, you name it. Players have probably survived or trying to make their way through here, and they're going to see most of those players, if not a few, right? So I think while it is, at least for right now, not the greatest of returns, late game it could work out very, very well, actually, for Sypher and Jo.
Yeah, and that's actually a great point. Keep in mind, the bus did come from the south side of the map, so you're going to see Fatal Fields, Junk Junction, Yonder Yard, quite a few rotations coming to this area of the map, let alone the massive fights at Retail Row and Salty Springs that did ensue. So I think right now, short term might seem like the upper hand goes to Ninja and Hysteria, but long term, I think it's a smart decision from Sypher and Jaomock. I would love to see Ninja and Hysteria try and find a jump pad or maybe bounce pad their way over if they can. I think if you push towards the north side of the map, you're making a huge mistake because there's going to be significantly less people that way.
One thing that I haven't highlighted as of yet, Hysteria is sitting at 7 frags just for himself. Of course, Ninja sitting at 0 and alone, just showing obviously the skill set Hysteria has. Now Jaomock on your screen picking up an easy frag just ahead to kind of close that deficit just a little bit, showing this rotation. Like you said, that bus route, right? They could run into quite a few people over at Salty. So this rotation could, in fact, prove to be extremely useful. Plus, they've also hit up Dusty a little bit early, so they'll be able to get a lot of those people rotating through. Whereas, you know, Ninja and Hysteria, they go tilted. They pick up a considerable amount of kills, but now they're going to have to go over by Loot Lake. And, of course, Loot Lake, you do find some kills yourself, but it's still an awkward place to transition to. So, with that being said, I think overall, Sypher and Jaomock later game is, in fact, going to have a little bit of an advantage.
I think when you look at our final 3 squads, of course, keeping in mind phases, obviously got Ninja and Hysteria, Sypher and Jo. Really, all 3 of our teams, which is pretty much not at all what we're used to, are all kind of slower paced squads, right? For the most part, we look at this tournament the last few weeks, all pretty much slower paced. Teams like to go on the outskirts, not teams who maybe prefer tilted, not teams who want to go in the middle of a retail, in the middle of a Salty Springs, etc. As we actually do see a llama. If we get llamas in chat, that'd be great. But it's kind of, to me, a little bit interesting that we look at this tournament and maybe the progression, maybe Fortnite has kind of changed its meta, at least as far as Friday Fortnite is considered, to maybe say, hey, the slower strategies is now the way to go, rather than we used to see inside Salty, inside retail, inside tilted pretty much every single time. Now we're seeing more outskirts play, and it seems to be well suiting a lot of our squads. And like I said, maybe the meta for Friday Fortnite is starting to change.
Definitely is, and we've been seeing that throughout our tournament. You know, in the beginning, we saw a lot of hot drops. We would see a lot of teams just go straight into Salty. They'd go straight into Tilted, and they'd come out with a lot of kills, and it was very explosive. And that's why we also saw shorter rounds in the beginning of Friday Fortnite, because a lot of these teams would go for these hot drops, and unfortunately, some of them would end up going down, and because of that, we would have shorter rounds. Now we're starting to see longer extended periods, longer extended rounds. Both teams staying up towards the very end and winning. The reason why we're seeing this is because they've slowed down their gameplay. They go for more rotations, which allows more kills than we used to see in the beginning, and it's kind of a refreshing thing to see. It's turned in more to a chess match and more of a marathon than a sprint, which is what we used to have.
Yeah, I think that's great commentary here. It's Hysteria with a beautiful knock. The guy's still going to be knocked. So one thing they did a great job right there is just keeping the pressure on the built structures, which made that guy kind of hesitate a little bit to get that revive. I mean, that guy had 25 seconds to get the revive, but Hysteria ended up doing a great job tagging up that wall, not allowing him to do so. They pick up 2 more kills, and now what's the rotation? You see Sypher and Jaomock with, I think, a strong rotation of Risky. They're really dominating the east side of the map. Ninja and Hysteria, I wonder what they spot, what they see. Of course, that thermal AR has paid dividends for them as they've been able to spot quite a few people from far away. But you got to wonder how they're going to follow up.
Yeah, with that being said, their lead that they had, at least moving over to Loot Lake, is in fact going to carry them, especially Hysteria's 8 total frags. They have 9 alone, and they still have the lead. Yes, they've hit up less areas, but they've hit up more populated areas, so it seems. And that's why they have the lead. Whereas Sypher and Jaomock, they've covered a lot of ground, but they've been in areas where a lot of players are not. And did you guys just see that hit from the Deagle that Ninja just hit? I mean, that was absolutely a great snapshot on his part, and came in and got it, making that player get extremely weak. And look at him just building over this opponent. He just has no idea what's about to hit him, and goes in with attack and able to finish off the kill. And actually, it's going to be the double pistol. So he hit that shot from a distance with a double pistol. Excuse me, not a Deagle. That's even more impressive.
I completely agree. Ninja's been a huge fan of that double pistol meta, and it goes to show his practice that he put in this week and using that double pistol has really paid off, as he's going to hit great shots with that thing. And of course, you hit a headshot with that guy. That's 80 damage that you do instantly. It's nuts.
It's a lot of damage, that's for sure, especially coming from something like a pistol, which you look at from an outside perspective, like, okay, well, what's a pistol going to do? It's actually going to take most of your health away, if not 90% of it from time to time. But speaking of long-range shots, actually Ninja pulling out the thermal assault rifle from across Loot Lake. That's how much damage that thing can do as well. We test the damage. This is one of the best guns in the game, especially when it comes to Friday Fortnite, which is trying to seek out as many frags as you can get. That information is always super important.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and actually, if we can go ahead and break away and look at the other opponent's screen, we were seeing Sypher was, in fact, going to be in a fight. He's going to be low in health.
Ooh,
Places the
nice
trap very
play.
wisely so. He's going to go ahead and get that knock with more players just
That was
below
dirty,
him.
man.
Pushing over to Anarchy Acres. We know this is a Battle Pass area. Obviously, people trying to go for their eliminations there. But look at this guy. He's going to be down to 5 health and a dream. Can he make it happen here? He's going to go for the thirst, and wisely so, as Jaomock pushes forward to try and provide a little bit of a buffer for Sypher. But unfortunately, Sypher, he's all out of meds, guys, but luckily he does have a med kit just below him. He's going to be forced to take some time out. He puts the fireplace just below him. I think he's going to try and save that med kit, feeling confident to go ahead and push forward to kill these opponents.
At the same time, Ninja & Co. also in some engagements. Ninja from long range, taking down one with just a matter of bullets. Of course, the Portafort supplying a little bit of support when it comes down to the opposition's play. But just I start to say that Jaomock gets taken down along with being eliminated from the match. Sypher was not able to be there, and it looks like along with that, the player kind of jumps away for the time being. However, one is still remaining. A little bit of a resurrection time is Sypher. But talk about a huge loss, losing your opponent, and there's still quite a few engagements remaining.
And we just saw Ninja actually pick up a great kill with a double pistol. He is using those to the fullest of his abilities. And, of course, those double pistols so incredibly powerful. And I actually saw one account, at least one person got 170-something damage with the legendary double pistols. You're talking about insane amount of damage, and he's using it to the fullest abilities. Pulls a thermal in his back pocket without skipping a beat and manages to ding some shots, as you see. Once again, Ninja's going to be leading the way. But look at this score, guys, 17-5. We have a 12-frag lead. Sypher's all alone, and we have a total of 14 frags still remaining. When you talk about a loser's finals, you don't want to come into that second round with this much of a deficit.
And also, when you really look at the beginning of this game, both teams landed in the exact same spot. So we can't say, oh, it was Ninja and Hysteria who happened to get more engagements, or no, oh, it was there who had like a really good RNG start off the break. Both these teams landed in the exact same spots. They easily could have done the exact same thing that Ninja and Hysteria did, but that's all about rotation. It's all about player awareness, etc. Sypher is pulling out some amazing plays here at Anarchy Acres. You got to give credit to him. But generally, when you look in the score and you're saying, hey, both these teams land in the exact same location, massive, and even more credit toward Ninja and Hysteria's case.
Sypher has just played incredibly well. That entire segment before he used that med kit, fighting the 1v3, his teammate dies and manages to clutch that up. So well done. But, of course, all he has is 4 kills to his name, which, you wonder who had the better rotation. The tilt rotation turned out to be the better call for Ninja and Hysteria, as they've picked up so many kills over that Loot Lake side of the map.
Yeah, you got to think we were questioning that before.
Yeah.
We liked the overall rotation, but unfortunately, he covered more ground but wasn't able to find the frags in total. And, in fact, Hysteria, as well as Ninja, was able to pick up quite a bit more as they continue to extend their lead, finding these last remaining frags. The storm has been collapsing down, but with Ninja's thermal sight being able to scope out the competitors and Hysteria's aggression pushing forward and them splitting up now towards the end, they're covering more ground, of course, naturally than Sypher is able to do by himself. Sypher, however, is in fact going to be inside the circle, so he has the potential to find some players who are maybe trying to get a one-by-one, maybe build up inside the circle, and he could potentially pick up some more, but ultimately he's going to be going into the second game with a deficit.
Yep, Ninja with two beautiful headshots. There you go. I was trying to foreshadow a little bit. And that's one thing that I think these players are starting to realize is the benefit of the thermal scope in this format of game. It's all about finding as many kills as fast as you can, and that thermal scope gives you such an advantage in doing that. Big shout out to Epic for the new weapon. That thing is just beautiful. Not just does it do so much damage, but it also gives you so much vision that can really benefit your team.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think when it comes down to thermal assault rifles, like you mentioned, the amount of damage that it can do, and also a lot of players were kind of hating on it for the factor of you can't really shoot the greatest with it. Has a lot of kind of recoil or whatever it may be, like a lot of problems with the shooting aspects of it. But a lot of the positives from it come through its vision, right? The ability to see players through structures, the ability to see players through walls, and the knowledge that you can grab for a lot of the situations is so incredibly influential. So yeah, I absolutely agree with that. I think the thermal assault rifle in Fortnite especially is super important because it's not necessarily always about the kill finding. It's just about where the players are at in general.
Exactly. Having that ability to kind of foreshadow what's going to be up ahead is a huge benefit. As even right now, you're seeing there's only one player remaining. Now, Sypher, he's just having to use his ability, his eyesight, just to go forward, whereas opposed to Ninja, he could just go ahead and go out there and just see what's around with these 2 players remaining, and obviously give the call out to Hysteria, who is split off, and he can say, hey, we need to collapse in on these 2 remaining players, of course, and they could be anywhere at this point. But honestly, if I had to say, Ninjas might find them over here in maybe these buildings, these farmhouses. But then again, Sypher has a good little lead too, but still the sting is there. They're going into second game with at least almost a 10 frag.
Ninja does have a pistol for each one of them if he's ready to see it.
That is true.
That's
That is true. And I got to tell you, they shred through they shred through buildings. And there we go. See, and this is what we talked about. But wow, did he take some damage?
Yeah, as he started to see that one player, that player also spotted him. As the rush, I'm sure, is on, and while Ninja has spotted that player, I'm sure the call-out's also coming into Hysteria as well.
Yeah, Hysteria picked up the other kill as well. I'm not sure if you saw that in the bottom left of your screen. So it's looking great right now. If you're a Ninja fan, 7 plus 15, it's 22 kills to, I believe, 7. They're up by almost 20 kills. It is a phenomenal performance here as they've been playing out of their minds. I think it's about a 15-kill lead right now in favor of Ninja and Hysteria.
And Cypher has a little bit of a lead, trying to go for at least this last frag, and hopefully he'll be able to find it to kind of recover a little bit of that 20 frag deficit. But with that being said, I do believe Ninja sees some building over to his right, and I believe that's probably going to be all she wrote, to see that they just shred through those buildings, and that's going to be it. Talk about a lead for this loser bracket. I mean, first of all, $3,000 is the bare minimum. Of course, though, you go from here, you got a $4,000 prize difference moving into the grand finals against FaZe. But if you talk about that much of a lead, you got to split. You have to split. One has to go tilted, cut off the shift, because you know where Ninja's going. They're going shifty, right? You got to go tilted, send them there, get up those frags, and then go over to Salty. But yeah, that stings. That stings if you're Cypher and Jaomock.
16 kill lead for Ninja.
That's massive.
16 kills. That's
massive.
And along with the number talk, I mean, as well, Hysteria finished off with 15 or 16 of those 23 kills. Fantastic game from him. I think we've been obviously giving a lot of credit for Ninja, right? The king of Twitch, how it has a very strong presence when it comes to the social media. But there's been a lot of moments throughout this tournament where we're like, kind of crediting obviously the team itself. There's been a lot of moments where Hysteria's back's against the wall, even from last week into this week as well, where it's a really high pressure situation, needs to stay alive, needs to have some big moments, and he's answered the call almost every single time. I know we've been critiquing a little bit Ninja and Hysteria's play regarding landing zones, etc. But when Hysteria, like I said, his back's been against the wall. When the pressure, the time called for it, he's always been there. So I think it's one nice little factor that Ninja has alongside of him, is that he doesn't always have to rely on himself to find those frags. Having that player joining alongside of him to make sure that those frags can be found in different situations, be found in different areas, is always nice. So,
yep. Beautiful play. And what's interesting is both teams survived pretty much the entirety of the game. Jaomock went down maybe with 4 or 5 minutes left in the game, but the fact that they both survived the entirety of the game and there's that big of a difference, you see that happen when a team dies early. It goes to show how well Hysteria and Ninja are playing, how smart the rotation was. I mean, they are really next level when it comes to rotations, and that's why I really do think I'm holding on to it. The dream is alive. It's never been more alive. Ninja Hysteria prediction in the final. I think they match up well against Tfue. I think we're going to see a good grand final, assuming that Ninja Hysteria make it.
Well, let's go ahead and foreshadow the grand final. If they do, in fact, end up going up against FaZe, I think they will have a better opportunity to kind of beat them. And the reason being is because FaZe, their rotations have been so great, but it seems like Ninja and Hysteria have kind of found the secret key to their rotations, and that's the way to beat FaZe overall. But here we are. We're dropping in.
Tilted Salty.
We got a tilted Salty, and this is exactly what we need to see. And this is, pretty typical whenever you in terms of a 16-kill deficit, see how it works out. But, of course, as we look, we always try to foreshadow what's happening with Cypher, because Cypher's going to be in tilted, and that's usually the deciding factor.
Oh, and here comes the trap down. Thankfully, dodges it maybe a step forward, and Cypher could be saying goodbye at least an even beginning opportunity to take down this game. Of course, a lot of very close situations happen like that until the towers.
Great navigation, building the staircase to go up to the second floor, catching that person off guard. Of course, thinking in different directions there. Of course, that player was like, yeah, I got the trap to my right, which is kind of weird that he was over there kind of looking at the staircase. I mean, why was he doing that if he had a trap to his right? But regardless, Cypher, good navigation, pushing through, and he's going to live to tell the tale. We'll see how many kills he can at least get out of this. But, of course, surprise, surprise, we have another shifty drop from Ninja and Hysteria. But, like I said, always got to put that focus on the person in tilted, and Cypher now down to 30 health, and there it is. And that's the thing about tilted, right? You send a player there. If he doesn't perform and he goes down, and you already come in with a 16-kill deficit, that's pretty much all she wrote.
Yep.
Oh, man.
And a missed jump there followed by no mats. I mean, that is a heartbreaking way to finish if you're Cypher. I like the guts to go tilted by yourself, but I'm gonna echo what Ryan said earlier. I think you send double tilted. You get the extra support there. Cypher goes down. Jaomock is right there to clean up those kills. He's back alive. And now all pressure relies on Jaomock as he's Salty Springs by himself.
Indeed he is. But like I said, man, like when it comes down to tilted towers, right, it's almost a matter of no mistakes. And in that situation, you could absolutely argue, I mean, how much pressure, the amount of like inputs needed for Sypher just to even see a few more seconds of his life is just absolutely insane. But of course, credit to him. Like I said, a massive kind of pressure put onto Jaomock's shoulders. We'll see what he can try and do. This guy is very, very talented when it comes to situations playing. I'm sure he probably plays his fair amount of solo squads, etc. Obviously, a pro player for FaZe Clan in Fortnite, obviously, and obviously this is his chance, right? This is his opportunity. This is his platform to really show off his skills and really give us exactly what he can do when it comes into a game of Fortnite. But obviously, with the deficit that he's at right now, not looking the most likely, but pretty much if you're a FaZe fan, you're hoping Jaomock can go off, find some easy kills, but also along with that, you're also hoping that we see an early drop from Ninja and Hysteria, which is not typical by any means so far throughout our tournament today.
Definitely not, especially with it being so quiet at Shifty. They're not going to go down anytime soon, and wouldn't surprise me at this point if they do rotate over to Greasy. There's no reason for him to go tilted at this point, and knowing that Jaomock is pretty much last alive, and I believe we saw his teammate finished with, what, 1 kill? So not too big of a scare, at least if you're Ninja and Hysteria. But we do have a team kind of all jumping at the same time, trying to avoid these grenades coming in, these explodes, and they do so just well as they're all pushing pretty much together, but
yeah.
I think Jaomock honestly should be able to clean this up fairly well, but he's got to watch out. He could get pinched from the back, and he does pick up one, goes for the second, coming in with the deagle, not able to hit a shot. Can he get it down? Taking a lot of damage. Will this be the end? And yes, it is. Sypher and Jaomock, what a tournament run, but they're going to finish in 3rd place, $3,000 going to them, and I do believe this is the first time Jaomock is finishing the money, as well as Sypher, of course, won, at least in the beginning, at the very first Friday Fortnite, so this is the first time in 7 weeks that he's finished in the money overall, but showing, obviously, the team split ended up being the way to go. Jaomock, obviously, a phenomenal pickup for Sypher to use. Nick Merckx didn't do too bad himself throughout this tournament, but 3rd place going to them, and now we're going to get to see it come to fruition. We've been talking about it all night. You called it. Good job on your part. Ninja, as well as Hysteria, is going to be going against the FaZe boys. Will FaZe end up being at least a back-to-back champs, 4-time champions in Friday Fortnite, or will Ninja finally get that victory that has eluded him throughout our Friday Fortnite tournaments?
Yeah, I'm
That's
so
a great
excited
storyline,
for this
baby.
matchup. I am so excited. They lost to this. Actually, Ninja and Hysteria, we didn't even talk about this too much, lost to Sypher and Jaomock earlier in the winners bracket. So the fact that they came back and won in such a decisive way goes to show their chemistry is there, their rotations are there, their communication. I think they're in a good spot. It's going to be tough to bring down FaZe, man. They are definitely the kings right now of competitive Fortnite, and especially in this format. So taking them down is going to be difficult, but if anyone can do it, it could be Ninja and Hysteria.